Hello, I'm Chris.
And I'm Tom.
And you're watching That Review Show. Tom, what are we talking about today?
I don't know, what are we talking about?
Everest.
I haven't seen that.
Oh yeah, you didn't come, did you?
No.
Well, sling your hook then.
Oh.
Go on. Off your work-shy freeloader. Hello, I'm Chris, and today I'm doing a very short film review of Everest, which I went to see at the cinema last night.
You, my friends, are following in the very footsteps of history, something beyond the power of words to describe. Human beings simply aren't built to function at the cruising altitude of a 747. Our bodies will be literally dying. Everest is another beast altogether.
Everest is based on a true story of a group of mountain climbers led by Jason Clarke, who you will remember from such films as Terminator Genesis and Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. He plays Rob Hall, who has a company that lead people up to the summit of Everest, and in 1996 that expedition went wrong, and obviously tragic and dramatic events ensued.
Go to Rob. There is a massive storm headed your way.
Oh no.
I really enjoyed Everest. It felt like what was a fitting tribute to the climbers who lost their lives. It was not overly dramatised, so a lot of the characters you kind of you get them built up and they're properly fleshed out, and then when they die, there's barely even any music. There's no change of cameras. It'd just be someone in the background trudging along, and they just fall off the edge of a cliff, and that's it. And I really liked the way that kind of style, really understated. It was a little, I felt the start was a little clunky in terms of its exposition, but generally it was a great film. They obviously have to explain to the audience the perils of being at the top of Everest, and I just felt like they could have dealt with that a little bit better, considering it was a group of expert climbers who were going on this trek. It was very much, now you guys are all expert climbers, but I'm going to tell you exactly everything that you know about the dangers of climbing so that the audience of this film can understand how dangerous it is. And considering there were several groups who were actually tackling Everest at the same time, and they made a point of the fact that one of the tour guides was taking up novices who didn't even know how to use crampons, I felt like we could have maybe had them play a bit more of an expository role in being explained all the perils of Everest, rather than all these seasoned climbers, being told what they already knew. Other than that, though, I felt the way that the characters were introduced and fleshed out was done really organically, which kind of the genuine, the situation lent itself to that, because they were a group of people coming together from different places. Meeting each other for the first time, and so those conversations felt quite natural, introducing each other. And also there was a journalist with them on the trip, so he was obviously asking questions. And you obviously know with this kind of film there's going to be a level of embellishment to make it more watchable. And so possibly the probing questions he was asking them, weren't the real questions he asked, and some of the conversations were obviously kind of imagined, but I didn't feel that they took it over the top at all. I would worry that a general audience would maybe find it a bit dull, because it is just so kind of matter-of-fact about everything. But I liked the way that the human element of it was quite sort of subdued, and then the Everest itself was really kind of a character in this film. Everest and the weather around it really had, visually stunning, obviously. The cinematographer obviously knew, how to capture that and kind of show its magnificence, but also it's the peril inherent with trying to, tackle the world's highest mountain.
I'm on the top of Everest, Alan. We made it.
In terms of the casting, I felt, again, that was something, if I was being really nitpicky, I would say that I would rather they'd had unknown actors. I didn't really know anything about this film going into it. All I knew was it had Jason Clarke and Jake Gyllenhaal in it. And then as kind of Keira Knightley and Josh Brolin and Sam Worthington popped up on screen at various points, it became a bit of a game of spot the actor. I can understand why they did it, because parts of the film it's very difficult to determine who was who, because they're obviously sort of caught in snowstorms, and they're wearing full-on Everest gear with the goggles and scarves and hoods, so it became confusing even when you recognise the faces of the actors. So having unknown actors, it would have just been a nightmare. And that also was another sort of minor point which I could pick on in the film, was, again, because they were trying to capture the realism of being on Everest and trying to communicate in these snowstorms, the characters couldn't really hear what they were saying to each other, but you as an audience also struggled to catch a lot of the dialogue, which isn't necessarily that important, because it was just, you know, there were no plot twists that you missed because you didn't catch the dialogue, but there was just a lot of and you were just thinking, I don't know why he said that.
You go, I'm done. No, I'm not leaving you behind. Come on.
So, was Everest worth the ticket price? Yes, I think it was. I thought it was a very well-made film, very fitting tribute. And apart from the very last shot of the film, which I will leave to you, I thought it was great. That last shot was just a little confusing. I don't know why they felt the need to do it. But I'm not going to tell you what that was. I think you should go and see it for yourselves. So, go, enjoy Everest. Great film.